各位贵宾，午安！欢迎莅临2020台湾 ECLI 会员城市大会暨永续城市论坛开幕仪式。Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2020 Annual Assembly of ECLI Taiwan Members and Sustainable City Forum. On behalf of the forum, I am delighted to welcome you all to today's forum. 首先，让我们欢迎 ECLI 的秘书长 Gino Van Begin 为我们致辞。First, let's welcome Secretary General of ECLI, Gino Van Begin, for opening remarks. Let's give him a big hand.
Honorable Mayor Keynote of Saitama City in Japan, dear Mr. An Pang-ka, Deputy Mayor of Taoyuan City Government, dear Mr. Chiu, Deputy Secretary General of Taoyuan City, dear Mr. Chao, Executive Director of the ICDI, dear Mrs. Lynn O'Grady of the EBRD, dear Wan Tin Tsai, Director of ECLI KCC, dear ECLI members and participants. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 2020 Annual Assembly of ECLI members and the Sustainable City Forum. Since 2017, the Assembly of ECLI Taiwan members has become an annual event and has been hosted by different member cities. New Taipei in 2017, Taoyuan City in 2018, Taoyuan City in 2019, and this year in Taoyuan City, to whom I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your kind support. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic that we are experiencing today has laid bare the fragile economic, social, and environmental underpinnings of our world today. Although we have access to advanced scientific and technological resources, as well as strategies for disaster preparedness, and despite repeated specific warnings about the risks of pandemics, the world was not ready when this virus struck. We are now facing the worst public health and economic crisis in a century. The COVID-19 pandemic has shed considerable light on the vulnerability of health systems around the world, even those that were thought best prepared to face epidemics. The sharp decrease of economic activity and extreme limitations placed on physical interactions revealed sharp social inequalities and the acute vulnerability of informal economies and disadvantaged communities. We now see the risk of weak public services, of insufficient social investments in public budgets, and the increasing dependence on imported goods and food. At the same time, our communities and local governments have learned to embrace digital services and communication. They experienced a decrease in air pollution and waste, as well as a restoration of ecosystems and natural assets. We see an increased solidarity among communities and more transboundary collaboration among institutions. And most importantly, we witness a debate on public ownership of basic and critical services, on the decentralization of food and energy production, and a discussion on multi-level governance and management of public services in response to the crisis. In terms of the recovery and building back better, a key objective will be to restore economic activity without simply restoring our old patterns of environmental degradation and inequality. In line with SDG 3 on good health and well-being, all countries need to strengthen the capacity for early warning, risk reduction, and management of national and global health risks. Besides greater investments, this crisis shows that further measures and improved reporting are needed to track prevention programs, to increase the healthcare system preparedness and resilience to pandemics. The COVID-19 crisis is a clear entry point for reflections and lessons learned from cities and local governments' responses and recovery to strengthen urban resilience. It is yet another reason to continue to invest in urban resilience. Since 2010, ICLE has been supporting its 1,750 members and network cities with activities to promote local resilience, sustainable urban development, and to increase the understanding of disaster risks by stakeholders in the respective localities. We promote resilient development strategies as a main pillar of sustainable development. Over the last 10 years, numerous ICLE members have developed urban resilience plans to adapt their municipal infrastructure and enhance their immediate response capacities to counter the impacts of climate change, environmental and technological disasters, and health crises. In the recent months, to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, ICLE has been collecting and sharing information and knowledge among our members. We have been creating networking opportunities and have been providing technical support to local governments. These resources and stories are available on our website, icle.org. We have found that ICLE cities are taking the lead in creating responses and recovery plans to build back better. Some examples of good practice among our members include the cities of Saitama, Seoul, or Izmir. Cities like these are showing that we can never go back to business as usual. Resilience is more important than ever, and all stakeholders should work together to build back better through green, low-emission, nature-based solutions that promote equity and social justice. Thank you very, very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Gino, for your inspirational speech. Please stay online until the group photo. Next, let's welcome Deputy Mayor of Taoyuan, Gao Anbang, for opening remarks. 接下来，让我们欢迎桃园市高安邦副市长为我们致辞，让我们以掌声热烈欢迎他。
Secretary General ICLE, Mr. Gino Van Begin, online, and Deputy Head of EBRD, Ms. O'Grady, and together with Mr. Chow and Director Tsai, and also Deputy Secretary General of our city government, and our Director General of Taoyuan City Government, and all the distinguished guests, representatives online and offline. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be on behalf of Mayor of Taoyuan City, Zheng Wen-Can, to give our regards to ICLE and all the member cities, and we wish a big success to this event. And here in Taiwan, we have 10 member cities of ICLE, and we, Taoyuan, is the host city of this forum this year. Besides that, we also have Sustainable City Forum, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic this year, it is unfortunate we cannot have the foreign guests coming here to attend on site, and we have the mayor of Saitama City to share with us online, and also with the representative of EBRD to share online as well. We all know that in light of the severe pandemic of COVID-19, it's a rare meaning for this forum today, and we are going to focus on how we can recover from this challenge. As we have mentioned that how we can recover our economy, community, and here on this forum, we can exchange with each other on the relevant experiences. Taoyuan City has invested great efforts in these regards, and Taoyuan also have passed the regulations on developing Taoyuan City as low carbon emission and green city in 2017, together with relevant projects and programs promoted. With these combined, how we're trying to make more efficient of green vehicles. And here in Taoyuan, our green vehicles are #1 in Taiwan. We put emphasis on eco-logistics. We have offices pertaining to eco-logistics as well. I believe that sustainable development on urban level is extensive, including reducing pollution and recycling, circular recycling, and also GHG reduction. So today, we're pleased to have this opportunity in Taoyuan. With this forum, we can engage a further exchange on sustainable development in this forum, and we anticipate further exchanges among member cities and participants so that we can do better in Taiwan on the regard of sustainable development and learn from the international community members. This is also the purpose of this forum today. Again, we wish a big success to this forum and a good health to all of you. Thank you.
请高副市长留步。现在让我们邀请与会贵宾及各城市代表一同到台前拍摄今日论坛的大合照，也请携带城市 logo 一同上台。Now let's invite everyone gathered to take group of photos. 请各位城市代表回到座位，我们也邀请全体人员一同拍摄大合照。待会请各位看着台上的摄影师。Now let's take the other photo from the stage. Thank you, Mr. Juno， 也感谢各位的配合。高副市长因公务关系需先行离场，我们也谢谢高副市长莅临本日的论坛开幕式。 第一场是专题演讲即将开始。本场活动我们将邀请桃园市副秘书长邱俊敏邱副秘书长担任本场次的主席，欧洲复兴开发银行甘婉瑜经理担任与谈人，以及国际气候发展智库赵公岳执行长上台，请3位上台就座。Now let's welcome the moderator of the keynote speech, Zhao Gongyue. Mr. Zhao is the Executive Director of the International Climate Development Institute. Let's give him a big hand.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the all participants from cities, and also once again thanks for the support from equally the Secretary General Mr. Gino Van Begin, and also we have the local support from Taoyuan City government. Okay, so for this session, it's as the Deputy Mayor said, it's a great pleasure that we can meet here after this pandemic of COVID-19. So this session we have Chairperson from Taoyuan City Government, Deputy Secretary General Mr. Chou Junmin here. Yeah, let's give him a big applause. Yeah. Okay. And also we have 3 speakers, one from Saitama City, and one from EBRD, and also one from Taoyuan City government. So in fact, as this session topic for discussion the post-COVID-19 green economy policies, it's very, very important that we have learned from different experience from cities. And as we know that in the past few years, equally plays a very important role that we have the experience sharing platform in Taiwan, and 10 city members from Taiwan and participate in the equally platform. So since a few years ago, we started this Sustainable City Forum under the Smart City Expo and Summit. And during this forum, we invite guests from international field, from international organizations, and invite them to share their perspective and also their policy view. And in this field, we also cooperate with different organizations such as CityNet, EBRD, WeGo, and also GoSmart since last year. So in this regard, since last year, ICDI and ICLEI, we co-launched a Global Smart Solution Report. And we invite cities around the world to share their experience and to share how they use ICT tools and to help the cities transform their economy and also to help cities more sustainable. So in this regard, last year, we launched the Global Smart Solution Report 2019. And we have 8 cities from 12 different cases, and to show how they use ICT tools. And with this smart city approach to help the city more sustainable. And this year, we have more cities to participate. In this year, we have different topics, for instance, like innovations, and also resilient cities and low carbon development. So in this regard, okay, yeah, let me check. We have the Global Smart Solution Report here. In this regard, okay, yep. Okay, next page, please. Yeah, we have 19 different cities around the world to send their city cases around the world. And not only in the Asia-Pacific region, but also in Europe, in different continents. Yep, okay. All right, so in this regard, we have already invited cities to share how they're using the ICT tools and also the smart city programs to help the city to solve the problem and also toward to a further development of the cities. Okay, so it's our great pleasure for today, this session, we not only invite the cities to share the experience, but also we have invited the organization like EBRD, a development bank from Europe. They're using green technology and also the policy perspective to help the cities to achieve their green economy goals in the cities. So therefore, we have the panelists from EBRD, Ms. Wendy Gan here, and also she will present the policy view response from EBRD later. Okay. So after this Global Smart Solution report for today, we will provide the QR code for the participants here and also online. So you can download our draft. And the main report will be released in our main forum, which is scheduled in the first quarter of September. Okay. So for the first part, I would like to invite the mayor of Saitama, which is one of our best practice this year, and to give his experience. Can I invite the Mr. Qing Sui Yongren from the city of Saitama to provide his speech? Okay, please. Yep.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hayato Shimizu, the mayor of Saitama City. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to participate in the 2020 Annual Assembly of ICLEI Taiwan Members and Sustainable City Forum with this video message. The influence of the COVID-19 are lingering on a global scale. At June momentum this year, Japan's Minister of the Environment, Shinjiro Koizumi, stated that humanity is facing two challenges, the COVID-19 and the climate change. The international collaboration is essential to deal with these crises. I do feel the same and hoping that cities around the world will be able to share their knowledge and work together to overcome these crises. Now, let me briefly introduce Saitama City to you. Our city is located within 30 kilometers north to central Tokyo. With its 6 bulletin train lines and other railway links, Saitama City plays a central role in linking East Japan and the Tokyo metropolitan as a hub for exchange of people, goods, and information. The city has grown to the 9th largest city in Japan with its population over 1.32 million as well. The Saitama City is known for its tradition industry and culture as well. We held the 8th World Bonsai Convention in 2017 at Omiya Bonsai Art Museum, and the Japanese Traditional Doll Museum was newly opened in Iwatsuki in February this year. Japan is often referred as an advanced country tackling issues of aging society. Even though the Saitama City's population is on the rise, the population is expected to decline by 2030 and begin the rapid aging of its population. The cost of public relief has doubled in the last decade, and many of the public facilities have become in need of immediate renovation. We face a number of challenges, but would like to take these challenges as opportunities. We are in the environment in which innovation is most likely to take place, enabling us to take initiatives in solving problems ahead of the rest of the world. I focus on the next decade as the decade of destiny, and we will focus on building a smart city to solve our social problems. I feel that Japan tends to be slower than the rest of the world when it comes to the deployment of innovation. This is the reason why I actively promote our smart cities that embrace the lives of our citizens to the international community and then to develop our business in the future. In this section, I would like to introduce our city's efforts to date. In our city, we have been working to spread the green vehicles through public-private partnerships since 2009 to reduce CO2 emission. There are now about 150 power charging locations, and all general passenger vehicles belonging to the city are green vehicles, reducing the environmental impact and improving resilience in the event of disaster. In this project, we have concluded the E-Kitsuma electric bound project agreement with 9 companies, mainly major domestic automakers, to promote this project. Next, learning from the Great East Japan earthquake of 2011, we have been working on 3 key projects in order to develop a city that is resilient to disasters as well as to reduce the environmental impact, which was designated a special zone for next generation vehicles and smart energy. In particular, we're building the smart home community as an innovative and sustainable model that can be deployed in other cities. Multiple stakeholders, including industries, government, and private sectors, are working together to take the roles of each based on the rapid charging needs of the society. In order to avoid excessive costs, housing has been designed to meet Saitama City's climate installation and air tightness standards to reduce heat shock and prevent hypothermia in the event of a disaster in winter. The town blocks are equipped with common places that serve as community space. By undergrounding the power lines, we were able to improve the landscape and disaster prevention and reduce the high cost of undergrounding the electric wires by about 40% than usual costs. We also introduced blockchain and digital technology to town blocks to build virtual trading markets of the renewable energy to conduct automatic and virtual power trading. Now, we're planning to enabling power flexibility for all units of newly planned town block and control the renewable energy using the stationary storage batteries and 2 electric vehicles. This way, the power supply can be maintained during the power outage and electric vehicles can be used for transportation of the residents. Our goal is to create a zero-carbon town block. As you can see, we are determined to take the next step of building a smart city by promoting environmental and energy initiative. In the Mizuno district, we build a collaboration between public, private, and academic. We're working together to build the smart city Saitama model, a microcosm of the ideal city with local residents using urban design center Mizuno as the base. The characteristics of smart city I'm aiming for are to combine technologies such as IoT, AI, and personal data on the basis of the common platform Saitama version, which is a common information infrastructure to provide thoroughly local and personalized services to improve the quality of life of all citizens to the maximum extent as possible. I call it the Smart City Saitama model that brings people together. I believe that bringing people together will become an important element in the future in any city, in any situation. As you can see, Saitama City has been working as a front runner to solve the problems that cities around the world will eventually face. However, as I mentioned before, it's not possible for a single city to achieve climate change measures and realize a decarbonized society alone. It's important for cities around the world to work together to complement each other, to build a partnership among cities to solve our problems. Saitama City is planning to host a global summit in 2022. I would like to invite you to participate in this summit so that the knowledge and technologies of each city can be fused together. I hope this will usher in major developments. Lastly, I would like to welcome people in Taiwan to visit Saitama City. We have been promoting Saitama City's tourism in Taiwan. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Saitama once again. After this health crisis is over. This is my message to you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, okay, so thanks for the speech from the mayor from Saitama City, Mr. Qingcui Yongren. So actually, in this video, we can see that for the Saitama City, they have showed that the city encounters so many different challenges. For instance, the aged city, the waste or the low carbon emission development, energy, different challenges in the city. However, through these smart city projects, they can integrate different functions in the development programs in the city, and also to use the information and also the IoT tools to help the city and to solve the problem and toward to the future. So in this field, we believe that the city experience and sharing is very key issue. So this mayor invite all of us to visit Saitama City in 2022. But I hope in the future, 2 years later, the pandemic could be cooled down, and we can also have this opportunity to visit the Saitama City. Okay, so in the next speaker, it's our great pleasure to invite Ms. Lynn O'Grady. And Ms. Lynn O'Grady is the Deputy Director and also the co-lead of Green Cities in EBRD, European Bank of Reconstruction and Development. And it's the most important development bank in Europe. And they have developed and also to transfer a lot of cities in Central and Eastern Europe into green cities. And also they have the climate finance target for 40% in 2020. So in this regard, I would like to say hello to Lynn. Are you here?
Yeah, I am. Can everybody hear me?
Okay, great. So Lynn, we have a lot of audience and 10 city participants in Taoyuan, and say hello to everyone. Yep. Okay, so I would like to invite you to provide your perspective and the policy for the green city development in EBRD. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm really delighted to be participating at this Sustainable Cities Forum. So I am from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. My name is Lynn O'Grady, and I co-lead the EBRD Green Cities programme with Nigel Jollens from the bank's climate change team, who is also on the line and will be listening attentively to everything that I said. So I would first of all like to thank very much the Taoyuan government and the International Climate Development Institute for giving me the opportunity to talk today. And my presentation is going to cover two areas. First of all, I will talk about the EBRD Green Cities program. And second, I will talk about the work that we are currently doing on revising the program to adjust to the challenges that COVID-19 has presented. And I think that has a context here because ICLEI have helped us greatly in the work in putting together that revision, and I will be able to give you the very preliminary results. So next slide, please. So just recapping on EBRD Green Cities. It's a 1.5 billion program, and it works with cities across the bank's countries of operation to help them benchmark, prioritize, invest in green city measures with the overall goal of improving environmental performance. And this is done in three ways that I will develop throughout this presentation. First of all, it's the delivery of strategy and policy support. And this is done through green city action plans and also policy dialogue. Second, because EBRD is a bank, it facilitates and stimulates green city infrastructure investments. And this covers a whole raft of areas, including urban transport, includes the e-buses that the mayor from Japan talked about, solid waste, renewable energy, importantly now, smart solutions, water and wastewater, building energy efficiency, street lighting, and investments specifically focused on resilience. And finally, the third component is this capacity building of city administrators and also engaging key stakeholders in the process. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this shows the network of green cities. So we now have 43 cities in the program. These span from Ulaanbaatar in the east of the bank's countries of operation, right over to Cairo in the west, and looking north to Novopolotsk, which is a city in Minsk. I think something to point out, so all these cities have either undertaken a Green City Action Plan or have completed one or are preparing to start one. So this is an ever-growing network, and I think a point made by the previous speaker was this importance of networks for cities, and we are really deploying this network to very good effect in these challenging times. And one more point on this, cities are now joining this program, not just because they want support in developing sustainable investments, they want to be part of this ever-growing Green Cities community. Next slide, please. So just to give you some headline figures on the achievements of this program to date. So this is 4.5 years of operating. So far, 568 million has been invested in these green sustainable investments. 1.5 billion has been invested both from the bank's own capital and also from donor financing. And that donor financing includes financing from the Taiwanese ICDF fund, which are the funds that we are very fortunate in being able to access in the bank. In terms of impact, these investments amount to a CO2 saving annually of 588,000 tons. And just to put this into context, this is the equivalent of taking 125,000 cars off the road. And finally, and the previous speaker talked about the importance of engaging citizens, the importance of engaging people. And this is part and parcel of the EBRD product through this GCAP process. And so far, to quantify this, 1,800 people have participated in stakeholder engagement. Next slide, please. So this really presents in a nutshell what Green Cities is all about. And what we have been able to do, and it's very simple, but it works, is to link planning with investment. So if you look at the left side, we start when we work with a city by identifying a trigger investment. This is the first green and sustainable investment. In parallel, a Green City Action Plan is undertaken. That Green City Action Plan defines priority investments and also reform measures, including policy areas that need to be addressed. So if I can just give one example. So Tbilisi is in Georgia. It's a country that borders the Black Sea. In 2015, we financed green buses in Tbilisi, the Georgian capital. And in parallel, a Green City Action Plan was done. That was concluded in 2017. That Green City Action Plan identified a whole host of green investments that help to green Tbilisi. And from that, we have now financed the rehabilitation of the upgrade of the solid waste in Tbilisi, more green buses, and most recently, we financed the Tbilisi Metro. So I think it proves that that whole process works. Next slide, please. So Green City Action Plans, there is a systematic approach. We use consultants procured through EBRD source donor funds, and this includes Taiwan ICBF, and engage with a wide range of stakeholders and follow a defined GCAP methodology, which principally has three components. First of all, there is a Green City baseline where we ask cities how they are doing, what are the environmental challenges facing a city. And this is done through a benchmarking exercise against indicators. We have a Green Cities website, so any of you who want to delve into the details of the methodology, it is very clearly explained there. From that, we define the Green City Action Plan. So this is the short, medium, and long-term vision of the city in terms of how it will tackle its green innovations, both from an investment point of view and from a policy point of view. And then finally, there are target green city investments. And these are, for example, the green bus project in Tbilisi, the solid waste project in Tbilisi. I will at the end, I will contextualize this and give you some examples. Next slide, please. So just in terms of financing structure, EBRD is flexible. So at one end of the spectrum, the EBRD Green Cities program will lend to the government to support municipal infrastructure projects. At the other end of the spectrum, EBRD can finance the private sector with the most commonplace avenue being public-private partnerships. And then in the middle, and that's a big in the middle because that's where most of our financing goes, that is making loans directly to cities or loans directly to utility companies to support their projects. About 80% of our lending in the city space is to public entities. So looking ahead, that times are going to be tough. We've all seen from COVID-19, the cash flows of cities have been seriously affected. But that's when banks like EBRD, this is when we come into play. This is when we really have a role to play. And just going off script a little bit, we want to play that role, but that green agenda, that needs to be kept there right at the top. Next slide, please. So I just want to talk briefly about what we have been doing in the EBRD Green Cities team to reshape the program in the context of COVID-19 when we start this journey on the green recovery. And just to repeat again, we have been greatly assisted by ICLEI in this assignment. They have done a huge amount of work interviewing our cities, interviewing EBRD staff, looking at other different models, really drilling into the program to give us good guidance on the way forward. So it seems that we will focus now, we will keep green as the fundamental, but introduce 3 new components. So the first is a focus on resilience. And this is we've always looked at climate resilience, but this goes a step further and looks at resilience a bit more broadly. So in order to facilitate that, there will be a risk and vulnerability assessment on all the infrastructure operations in a city. So for example, we would, in the water sector is potentially vulnerable to people getting sick through COVID and not having enough people to keep the whole systems running. Something like that would be addressed. We will also ensure that the Green City Action Plan links these risks and vulnerability assessments, that it's addressed in the actions. And finally, we will look at the green outcomes in our investments, but we will also look at co-benefits as well. And I will come on to that in a little bit more detail in the next slide. The next area of focus will be smart, and we've already started looking at that. All Green City Action Plans now include a smart maturity assessment, and so this will hopefully promote smart measures in these green sustainable investments. And finally, there will be more focus on socio-economic factors, looking at the vulnerable and underserved population, everything that's come out of COVID, the underserved, vulnerable, they have struggled more with the pandemic. And I think something else coming out as well is this emphasis on green jobs, and that will have a focus. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to pick up on that point I made about co-benefits. So we have always looked at the green benefits of an investment. So if you look at the first line, and let's assume that we are financing electric buses. So the green impact of electric buses is clearly reduced greenhouse gas emissions. But we want to take that one step further, and also from that from that investment in buses, look at co-benefits. So these potentially could be improvement in public health, reduced impact of respiratory problems, job creation. I think that's going to be very important. And on this gender side, a reduced gender equality. But I just want to emphasize that we will still lead on green, but wish to promote other outcomes. I think that's the bottom line statement on the on this revising of EBRD green cities. Next slide, please. So just to put this in context a bit, I wanted to give a few examples of projects that we have financed under EBRD Green Cities. In total, we financed 30 projects. And these include the financing of electric buses in Bulgaria, which also included a smart component and provision of charging charging stations. I think it's also important to note that there was co-financing from the Green Energy Special Fund, which sources funds from Taiwan ICDF. So Taiwan had a big part to play in this. Next slide, please. So also we financed the provision of a new water pipeline to UKT in Tirana, and this is a corporate loan to the water company here, and importantly, it's part and parcel of a Green City Action Plan, and Tirana was the first to complete this. Next slide, please. And finally, energy efficiency in public buildings. We financed a number of these projects under EBRD Green Cities. There are huge savings in greenhouse gas. There is also significant job creation, and going forward, we hope to do more of that. So next slide, please. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you found it interesting, and I'm more than happy to answer questions during the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for Ling, and please stay online. I think for Ling's speech, actually, she presents that for the green cities, the EBRD has shown us how to help the city to test their vulnerability. They have assessment, and also to see the more green future after the vulnerability assessment. For EBRD, they help the cities using smart transportation or energy or different perspective, and to help the city to develop their urban construction and infrastructure. And also, after this COVID-19, actually, they may create another different green opportunities for cities. However, we still need more assessment. So I think after this, we can have more Q&A later from Ling and also Wendy. Okay, so for the next speaker, I would like to invite also our best practice this year for our GSSR. For Global Smart Solution Report, this year we have selected 6 different best practice. And Taoyuan City is one of that. And also for Taoyuan City is the host city of the Sustainable City Forum this year, and also our ICLEI annual meeting. So let's welcome Deputy Director, Secretary General, Mr. Chou Junmin. Yeah, thank you. Give big hands.
I think everyone just heard a lot of brilliant sharing before me. As a host city, I'd like to share with you as Taoyuan City. We have enjoyed a rapid development over the years recently. Allow me to share some of the background information about our city.
做一下好了。
好，
好像
帮
对，
对，好，好，下一页，好，
下一页，好，这一页。在座很多
Many of you here or members online or offline might not be quite familiar as I do with Taoyuan City government and Taoyuan City. And Taoyuan is the smallest municipality among the 6 municipalities in Taiwan, and we have over 2 million population here. Of course, we're not the one that has the largest population in Taiwan either. In the Greater Taipei metropolitan area, our city enjoyed the highest growth of population. We have 40 to 50,000 increase per year in terms of population growth. And also thanks to the geological advantage of Taoyuan City, we have international airport in our city. We have decent price housing. Our house pricing is about 1/4 of that in Taipei City. So it draws lots of people coming and settle down in our city. During this pandemic recently, Taoyuan has learned and encountered many obstacles and challenges because we have international airport in our city. So you can see along the way coming to this forum, you can see there's few people on the street. It used to be crowded with people in hotels and restaurants and airports. Our airport has it used to has about 200,000. 20,000 passengers coming in and out of our airport. But due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for us to tackle with this issue and overcome this obstacle. And Taoyuan is actively engaging relevant issues pertaining to sustainable development. In the post-pandemic period, we're also considering how we should go and where should we turn to in terms of policies. And many of you should know that Taoyuan secured the honor of top 1 in the IDF. Of course, it's an honor, but also it reminds us the importance of elevating the well-being of our citizenry, just like what we just heard from Saitama City's mayor in Japan. So after the pandemic, we should take a higher perspective, and of course, we should return to the perspective of sustainable development. Therefore, our Mayor Jen talked with the heads of different departments. We streamline our policies in this regard. Of course, we know New Taipei City has gone faster before us, releasing the first VRR in Taiwan. And we also released ours. When our VLR released, our Mayor Jen also chaired the event for the releasing. And the COP25 host in Spain, we also shared our results on the event at the Japanese pavilion. So here, we also like to share with you our results. Basically, we have 2 highlight projects One is the eco-logistics. We, together with the ICLE, we launched the project. We want to build Taoyuan City as the demo city of eco-logistics. Many of you may not be familiar with the eco-logistics. To put it simple, all our freights accounts 20% of our transportation, and yet the burden it caused to our transportation system is about 40%. So it is vital for us to be to reduce the impact of it and to elevate its efficiency, and that's our goal as well. Why we're doing this eco-logistics? That's because Taoyuan City is a hub city for many logistics operators. And these operations of logistics also cause a lot of burdens and pressure to our traffic in Taoyuan. So from airport to warehouse to the consumers, through the process, either in the packaging or the manufacturing, we want the players along the chain to take a more eco-friendly approach. So we have a eco-demo site, eco-demo area in our airport, all taking the smart or intelligent approaches, like either in the temperature control or the light control. We have many logistic operators in Qingpu district. They operate in the designated area and also in Huaya Industrial Park. In addition to that, we also have Daxi Old Streets. It's a very famous traditional old streets. However, it also poses a great threat to traffic and development of the region. Therefore, we come up some regulations in these regards. As a result, we created the Green Energy Office. Since its establishment in 2016, the power usage of ours only takes about less than 1.94% is using renewable energy. Therefore, the objective of the office is to elevate the share of renewable energy. Our goal is to improve renewable energy share, accounting 20% of the total energy by 2025. Of course, we take, for example, solar power generation as one of the methods. We encourage major consumer of electricity to employ more renewable energy. And we also have a lot of pounds in our city, so we have PV pounds established in our city. Of course, this PV system somehow or somewhat will affect the ecosystem of the pounds, so it's currently on the hold at the moment. In addition to that, for our renewable energy, traditionally, we burn our wastes in incinerators. However, in our regeneration plants, in addition to the incineration part, we can also make good use of our food wastes, like through the fermentation technology. We can solidify the food wastes and to further process for further use for power generations, for example. Of course, over the coastline, you can see offshore wind turbines operations as well. With these utilization of renewable energy, we can bring benefits to the sustainable development of Taoyuan City. And achieve the goal of 20% of renewable energy of the total electricity of Taoyuan City. And that's the both two highlight projects of our Taoyuan City. That's the brief introduction. That's all. Thank you.
And also, I think for Taoyuan has already shown us that every city actually has its unique condition. And for sustainability, actually rely on their special condition and to try to find their own way. For instance, local, the eco-logistic is very appropriate for Taoyuan, and also for Taoyuan to use this condition and to develop their special task using eco-logistic, and then to change the whole city format. I think Taoyuan has shown us a very good example. So that's big hands to Taoyuan again. Okay. So now we into the Q&A session. And for the first part, I would like to invite Miss Wendy Gan to give some response. Actually, for the overall, the EBRD has shown us a lot of very good example and also the policy. And in fact, every year during the Smart City Summit and Expo, and we invite the EBRD delegations to come to Taiwan to have experience sharing. But however, this year, during this pandemic, we cannot achieve this goal. However, we hope next year we can invite them again. But so that's first welcome Ms. Wendy Gan to give some feedback for the overall discussion, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken. 조부미.
Thank you, Executive Director Chu, and Ms. Wen. I'm Wendy. I'd like to also give my testimony of Taoyuan City government. We all feel that as a citizen of Taoyuan City, I'm proud of what we have done, and welcome to pay a visit to Taoyuan City as well. We've talked about EBRD.
Maybe solve the climate risk in the cities, how to evaluate. Okay. Yep.
Okay, well, thank you very much for those questions. I mean, on the first one, why do cities want to work with us on EBRD Green Cities? I think first of all, most cities are working to green their city. When we first started marketing green cities in our countries of operation, I mean, it was just such an easy sell because most of the mayors, they are green is at the top of their agenda. So that's one thing. Why do they want to work with EBRD? I think because mandate goes far beyond a normal bank. So yes, we provide loans. We can also provide concessional loans as well. We blend financing. For example, that bus project in Sofia, that has EBRD financing to the public transport company, which is priced at market. But we had co-financing from the Taiwan ICDF, or GESF as we call it. So there's that. There's also this capacity building. We put a lot of effort into that. And finally, the Green City Action Plans, the fact that we were not just lending for one project. Through the Green City Action Plans, we were giving a city that strategic vision for the green development. And I mean, I was at the start of the Green City program with Nigel from our climate change team, and quite frankly, we are overwhelmed with how successful it has been. In terms of how Green Cities is evaluated, I mean, all EBRD projects are evaluated. I think for Green Cities, it's that impact is the CO2 reductions or the energy efficiency savings, and that's embedded in the program. Any project that we finance needs to include that. And actually, your second question, I forgot what it was. You'll have to tell it. I think I've done the first and the third.
What's the most difficulty? Yeah, the most difficult part when you implement the Green City program.
我们的城市，彼此之间都有很大的不同。那我们就必须要非常针对它的起始的投资就要非常的小心，也很困难。所以在评估上面，可能常常都是问题的所在。这或许是我们常常看到，在接触绿色城市行动方案上面最大的一个瓶颈跟阻碍。在这一部分
，back to the pre-discussion that every city has its condition. So different cities, different cultures, and how to implement this framework in different contexts is the most challenging part. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Correct.
And also we have a second question from the audience to Taoyuan City. They would like to know that since Taoyuan has a very comprehensive framework for sustainability development, and also you launch your VLR in 17 different goals. So what's also the most challenging part, yeah, for Taoyuan? Yeah.
After the preparation of the report and implementation, of course, challenges will emerge. And of course, oftentimes it's very funny. Like we have an office for gender equality. Of course, that's literally meant for elevation of the gender equality. And it seems like we were more focusing on the gender equality among the 17 SDG goals. But besides that, we have many other efforts in different SDGs as well. But the demonstrations and sharing presentation of other efforts were scarce. Another thing is that it's not that difficult to make efforts in these fronts, but how to present our efforts, that's the true challenge, I'd say.
Department has his own agenda, and everyone thinks his agenda is very important. So for the mayors or the city government, how to balance the development into these different agendas and how to show the more comprehensive framework for the urban development is the challenge, I think. Okay, so actually for the city experience sharing, we can learn from different cultures in Asia, in Europe, in EBRD, green cities, and we can see that for different framework, if we adopt to city context, the localized experience and how to use the others' experience to think about what we can do is the most important part. Okay, so I think that very good answer from the Deputy Director General is the very good conclusion for this part. So let's give the big hands to our three speaker and panelists once again. Thank you very much. Okay, so I hand this mic to our MC.
Let's take a short break right now. The next session will start in 10 minutes. 现在是中场休息时间，邀请各位与会贵宾至茶水桌享用茶点。下一场的专题座谈将于10分钟后开始。会员城市投稿海报展示于会议厅外的走廊，欢迎各位与会贵宾可以前往参观。谢谢。 中心主任蔡婉田担任接下来专题座谈的主持人。Now let's welcome the moderator of the panel discussion, 蔡婉田. Ms. Tsai is the director of ICLI 高雄 Capacity Center. 让我们以掌声欢迎蔡主任。
Distinguished guests, my name is Taoyuan City. It's an honor to have all of you attend this forum, online and offline. I'd like to introduce the representative of the members today. First of all is specialist Fan Jiang Renmao from Taipei City. Next is the Chief Secretary Zhu Yijun from New Taipei City. Next is Section Chief Li from Hsinchu City. And also the CEO, Mr. Huang from Low Carbon Office of Taoyuan City. And also Secretary of Jiayi Department of Environmental Protection, Xu Yuwei. And Section Chief Lin Canming from Kaohsiung City. And Lin Jianhong from of Tainan City. And Song Zhenghong from Pingdong City. And of course, the 10th city, which is also the most important city and also the host city, led by the Deputy Secretary General Chu and his team. For this section, we'd like to invite Deputy Secretary General Chu to give us a remark.
好，与会的我们10个县市的。
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. For the last session, I believe you've learned a lot, and for this part, it's about our member cities. And for this year, thanks to the recognition of Director Tsai, and we took the initiative to host this forum, either participating in COP meeting worldwide or ICLI conferences. We've been very active in participating in different conferences throughout the world, and of course, we also have we had a great dining experiences together with the representative of Kaohsiung, and also we met the team from Tainan as well to enjoy the great lunch. But of course, besides the great lunches or dining experiences, we also have other exchanges as well, not just dining experience, like organizing this kind of annual assembly of ICLI Taiwan members. And if there's any room for improvement, your advice are more than welcome. And for next year, Director Tsai is very polite and asking me to also invite other member cities to take the initiative to organize the meeting next year. And apology for the organizing this forum in the afternoon, because we have attendance on over the internet, and also we have the high-speed rail system, so it's very convenient for you to participate here. Also, again, on behalf of Mayor Zhen, we welcome you to participate in this forum. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Secretary General Chu, for the remark. Now, let's have this section of panel discussion begin. For this section, we have 6 speakers. Start with Taoyuan City, followed by Taipei City, New Taipei City, Taichung City, Hsinchu City, Jiai City, and Kaohsiung City. Afterwards, I will briefly introduce the future activities and missions on the way forward before we begin the panel discussion. Let us welcome the first speaker from Taoyuan City.
Mr. Cho, and Director Tsai, and Manager Zhu, and all our presidents today, and our distinguished guests, good afternoon. Now I'm going to present Taoyuan City and explain a little bit on our main task on sustainable city. This is my PowerPoint today. First of all, when we start with the Sustainable City project, we have based it on the development of Green City. And we actually have a regulation on Green City. This is set up in 2015. This is actually a very different record than we had in the past history. And we also have a team who is the focus on the promotion of Green City, and it includes a lot of different parts. For example, on the water, on the transportation, and different kind of categories. This team belongs to the city government, and so our mayor is actually the leader of this group. They have this platform and promoting the emission decrease of greenhouse gas. And also on strategies, I want to mention about the few energies that we're focusing on. First of all, of course, is a sustainable energy. The Taiwan government had come up with a green energy office, and this is in 2018. And this is the office who's focusing on the strategies of green energies. And here I'm going to introduce you some of the focus we had. For example, solar power. The solar power is used on the public houses. We want every public house to have the equipment for solar power. And for private houses, we have the substitution to private houses as well. And for the wind power, we have created 57 windmills on the coast. And also, we have some field land that is already disposed, and we're using this kind of space to develop solar systems. And our Deputy Secretary had mentioned about we also having the center for the green city promotions, and they also have a lot of plans for the green city plans. And we having this very efficiency is over 28%. That's the highest in Taiwan at this moment for the heat treatment. And also on the renovation of streams or rivers, we're trying to make the whole city become a very good place to live. And now, let me start with the old stream here. We keep promoting the whole renovation plans on the old river. From Pingzhen to Dayuan, we're having a 22 kilograms cycling lane for bicycles. And also for the Environmental Protection Department are also promoting the renovation on different areas in Taoyuan. And it's included the wastewater and the water recycling center and system and the water treatment plants on the part. And also we are trying to make the river beautiful than before. And the last one I want to talk about the pond of Longtan. This is a very important site in Taoyuan. In the past, we don't have a very good water quality in this pond. And with the renovation, we have two plans, which is that we have the cleaning systems of the waters in here. And we also have the plans to control the waste water from the upper stream. And we have putting these plans and step by step at this moment. And also I want to talk about recycling. The biggest problem we're having in Taiwan is about waste. In Taoyuan, we are having a ROT plant. And every year we are having 60 kilotons of waste in this plant, and they're trying to dispose all of them in the year and make it into recycled ingredients. And using those ingredients, we're trying to apply it to the road fixation. And this had helped us won the 2019 Sustainable Development Award. In the end, I would like to share with you about our low-carbon sustainable family. Besides from Taoyuan City, in 2017, we have won the certificate from the government. And we have the 100% of participation rate in our neighborhood. And this is also approved by the government as well. And this also have also won a bronze prize of the government's certification. We have an 878 neighborhood had joined this plan, and 2 of them have already passed the certification for a silver prize. And we have another 76 of them have won the bronze prize. And the last part I want to talk about international communications. In recent year, we are trying to communicate with different international forum and organizations. We're really willing to participate all the forums in the world, and I would like to thanks for the ICLEI's cooperation with us to make us have more opportunity to communicate with the world. And I think Taoyuan City is trying our best to communicate and to be connected to the world and promoting this sustainable city and make it into our vision. This is my speech today. Thank you very much.
我们非常感谢
Thank you, our Deputy Director General, Mr. Zhang, for his sharing. Next, we'd like to invite specialists Fanjiang Renmao to share the experiences from Taipei City.
好，
Moderator and Deputy Secretary General Chu, on behalf of Taipei City, would like to share our humbly of our experiences with Taipei City. As the think tank of Taipei City, and also in the relevant activities releasing reports on sustainable development, we have played a key role into it. And the major challenge is, of course, just like what we just heard, how to present our efforts and content of our SD in regard of the SDGs are main challenges. And that's also the same with Taipei City. In fact, as long as the assessment is transparent, public, open to the public, that can be counted as the report. Of course, it has to go in line with the standards of the laid out by UN organizations. But basically, it's voluntary based. And in the promotion of SDGs, currently, it's definitely an international trend. So Taipei City, in July, we also compiled our VRR of Taipei City as well, and released it online on our official websites as well. And also on the website for public participation website. It is estimated to officially release it in September this year. So welcome to check it out. By then, just like what we just heard from other speakers previously, due to the pandemic of COVID-19, many cities, regions worldwide have suffered much of the impacts. Therefore, with regard of the pandemic prevention relevant to SDGs, we have these measures here in Taipei City to safeguard the health of our citizens and in compliance with the policies of and measures of central government for house quarantine or isolation, we also have epidemic prevention, taxi, transportation, hotels, for example. These measures are offered and available for any institutions in need and individuals in need. For the epidemic prevention measures, we also have education available online for students on the high school level, so that students can utilize these online tools to learn about the pandemic. As for stimulus of economic growth, our mayor have proposed several measures in this regard. It's not from our understanding, it's not just creating jobs, but also tax reduction, and also for the business in Taipei City to move toward a more sustainable path and development. And when you travel via the Taipei Metro, you can also see throughout the facilities about any advertisements or reminders for you to wear masks. so that we can go in compliance with the central government's policies of wearing masks and fight off the pandemic ravaging worldwide. In addition to that, would like to also share that many cities, they have their merits and obstacles, risks. Therefore, we also like to share our perspective in these regards. For us, SDG 11 is one of the key goals for Taipei City, including waste management, water treatment. After inventory, we have inventory in 2013. We found that 13 microgram of air pollution quality. We want to move toward and close to the goal and standard laid out by UN. So we promote more electric vehicles and collaborate with other cities like Keelung City, urging them to put a hold on the fire-powered or coal-powered plants to reduce the air pollution. That's something we do here in Taipei City. Of course, it's not that glorious or beautiful as it seems, even though our space as a metropolitan is limited. We want to achieve a green area of 3 acres in average. It's actually quite a huge challenge for Taipei City with such huge density of population. At present, we have stipulated carbon reduction goals in the long term and mid-term. We have a 50% reduction by 2025. For the short term, it's 8%. Relevant measures are as follows. In 2019, we have reached a target of 7.34%. For the next decade, it's going to be a great challenge for Taipei City because the main contributors of GHG emission here in Taipei City are household sectors and business sectors. So in the future, it's going to be the sectors for Taipei City to work more focused on, and this month actually we have hit a historic record of 39.7 degrees Celsius of the temperature monthly in average. So with relevant measures for keeping the water, maintaining the water, and water management are something we should definitely work on to better our city development here with Taipei City. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the representative of Taipei City. Next, let's welcome Secretary Zhu Yijun from New Taipei City and to talk about the sustainable plans in New Taipei City. Deputy Director Cho and all the representatives we're having today, welcome And I know everyone is putting efforts on the pandemic. And I would like to report this is the second time I'm being here. The first time was my wife for a dinner. So even though I'm living in New Taipei City, I'm still helping on the economy of Taoyuan City. This is my second time here, and I have very good memories here. And from now, I'm going to talk about. Okay. I'm going to talk about some of our actions in Taoyuan City. In New Taipei City. We have actually 69 adjustments on this plan, and the mitigation adaptation. And we're having discussion with the Secretary Department, and we're having a regular meetings with them to make sure all the actions are holding. And I like to make it into different parts and report it to you. And actually, in 2016, we have noticed the affection of air pollution. That is why we have stopped some application for the certification, and we have also make sure all our plants are not using the emission with carbon dioxide. And now, all the plants that is using the gas are using. Now we're having only 2 which have the carbon dioxide emission, and the other has already changed into gas-using plants. And this pictures right here, you can tell the pH 2.5 is really high in 2014 and didn't reach the target. But I'm glad to announce that in these few years, and until 2019, we have reached the target. And next, I'm going to talk about the energy efficiency. Usually for the lamp on the road, we are having a huge amount of energy waste. And so we have a discussion with the government, and we try not to increase our budget, but trying to reduce the energy waste. And we come up with a loan plan with the private companies. And in the past year, we actually have decreased the change of 220 of the lamps. And the fixation rate have got to 57.7%. And before, we need 30 hours to fix them, but now it only is reduced onto 19 hours. And you can see our lamps on the road are having better and better conditions. This is our satellite pictures right here, and you can see that it's green right here, and that is because the lamp have already changed into the LED lamp. That's why you can tell the colors are different right here. And then I want to talk about the energy efficiency as well. Not only about the lamps, even our mechanisms are already also having this transmission as well. For example, in the primary elementary school, we are changing their energy function and to a new civilist one. And they have already reduced 2.1% of the energy in the schools. Before, we trying to use 3 years to change all the old lamps in the schools. And now we are trying to replace them all into the LED lamp right now. And we are trying to support the schools for this plant and to replace the 180 lamps in the elementary school into the LED. Okay. And I believe every departments have their plans toward the energy reduction, but I want to talk more about the recycling energy here. It is very difficult for only government to promote this plan. And we really like to have the participation with the private sectors. However, it is very hard for the private companies to join by their own selves. Therefore, we are having the seminars with them and trying to input the private companies to join us. And so they can replace the 170 kilowatts of the light bulbs into the LED light bulbs. And next, apart from the private participation, we're actually having this bidding strategies to ask the private companies to join us. And in this way, we can make sure about their qualities, and we can provide them the space, and they can provide us their products. And in the past 2 to 3 years, we have actually 108 disposal area. Apart from the energy reduction, we also have other plans on this part. We are having a lot of green plans, and it is very important that we make use of our rooftop. And we're asking people, citizens, to participate in our seminars and design their own rooftop farm by themselves. And also, they need to maintain their farm by themselves. And in the past, we have already promoted 450 farms in the past. And if they're not using it as a farm, we're also having this cooling rooftop plants as well. It has a very good efficiency in the past few years. You can tell the surface temperature have been differentiated than before. And in this way, we can reduce our energy waste. And apart from that, recycling is very important as well. For example, we're having this happiness station to help the needed people. We also have the running contest, and all the cups that are using in those kind of campaigns are disposed afterwards. And actually, those disposed cups have been recycled afterwards, and to make sure the hygiene is guaranteed. And let's talk about adjustment here. Adaptment here. We having this regulation on the waters, and we having this regulation that every schools area have to have the flood preventing plans, water retention actions, to make sure they can retain the water in the area without leaking out. And for now on, we already have 570 pools in schools. And also, I like to share with you about the city wind coordinator corridor. For example, take Luzhou as example, and the north and north and south of Luzhou, we're having this corridor for wind, and we're also having the green plans on the shores, and we even have the development for the whole whole views of the corridor in order to make more wind blow into the city. And also we have the smart neighborhood right here. Oh, and we're having the idea of creating power, storage power, and power saving. In this kind of area, they can provide themselves with their energy, and with 5 kilowatt of energy as well. And for urban area, we have the mono-power grid. Even though they don't have much efficiency in normal days, but when there's a natural disaster, this can help a lot. And in the end, I want to talk about some international cooperations. We're very aggressive that we want to participate all kinds of forums and discussions in the world, and being our experience and maybe having more ideas about how to promote our plans in the future. And of course, we are promoting our plans according to the SDG targets here. And this is my speeches. Thank you very much.
好，我们感谢新北市的报。
Thank you for sharing the experiences from New Taipei City. Next, I would like to have CEO Huang Qingxiao from the Low Carbon Office of Taoyuan City to share their experience. Thank you. Distinguished guests and fellow colleagues, many of you have seen before. Yes, good afternoon. Our moderator here is one of the individual, and of course our Deputy Secretary General Chu are individuals I admire much. Not just like your mayor often run away, but you have made many efforts in and work with us. Anyway, after hearing the experiences from Taoyuan, Taipei City, and New Taipei City, I feel that these experiences are brilliant, even better than ours in Taichung City. Probably I just stop here and that's it. Otherwise, I'll be embarrassed if I continue sharing. Honestly, Taichung City is very challenging, I'd say. I think Director Tsai of Clay have heard a lot of good outcomes from member cities, but they did not share any drawbacks, obstacles, any lack of support from the public, from the government. I'm not sure of that, but anyway, for carbon reduction and green development, it's a challenging task, I'd say. So I'm sitting in the office for days and nights, could hardly sleep, because we do not have a system in the local government level in the regard of carbon reduction. In COP25 last year, you should know that we ranked number 3 as the last of all the cities in the world and regions in the world. Nobody talked about it. Only Taichung City faced it. Honestly, it means that probably only Director Tsai knew the real situation as it is. So please don't talk about any good stuff only. We were the third worst city in this regard. So don't look at your cell phone. Put away and listen to the truth. Please. Taiwan. Taiwan is increasing its GHG emission, carbon emission. I've read a news article that the carbon emission of Taiwan is not decreasing, but increasing. It's now streamlined online, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. So, after all the talks, what actions did we actually take? Have you ever put words into action? No. We just talked about it to our public. Don't use the air conditioning. So, do you use air conditioning in the office? Back home? Everyone is using that. But you're asking the public that not to use it because of the shortage of electricity. And we keep burning coals to generate more power. So you know how painful we are in Taichung City. Yes, Taichung City, we do. The local government kept saying that reduce carbon emissions, but we do not. We are obliged to do that, but we do not have the privilege or rights to do so. We do not have substantial control in this matter. So on GHG reduction, reaching how many goals, percentage, don't talk about it to other cities. Just don't blame us, blame Taichung City, because we have the coal power plant. So we should work on the adaptation first. So how should we do it? Just like the representative from Taipei City, the temperature of July this year hit the all-time high, 39.7 degrees Celsius. So the global GHG emission is on the rise. It's the truth. When I was in your age, about 20s or 30s, we used to not that be that hot. Probably 40 years ago, it's about maybe just 34 degrees Celsius. So the statistics is real. It's not a lie. So 40 years ago, compared to the temperature today, if we look back, the temperature in Taichung City, it's about it's less by 0.32 degrees Celsius. So the temperature rise every 4 years in average. So is it so 10 years later? Probably will that be 3.2 degrees Celsius after 100 years? But our experts say that we have to keep our global temperature within the range of 1.5 degrees Celsius. How can we do that if our temperature keeps rising? So probably by 2050, I'm gone already. So what we are doing today is for our generations to come, not for this generation, because I cannot see that. I don't know if the global temperature will rise by 2 degrees Celsius. So please live longer to 100 years old to see that if the global temperature rise by 2 degrees Celsius and how it will impact to the sea levels, probably submerge the urban areas like 2 out of 5 of the total areas of Taiwan. It's just like you're boiling a frog in a warm water. It seems there's no imminent threat, but the danger is out there. So we kept saying the climate change adaptation, but the general public could hardly see that. We have to share the awareness with the younger generations for the generations to come over the century. Otherwise, we will never have any progress. The power usage, the electricity consumption is still the same or even on the rise because everyone is using cell phones. Or everything is powered by electricity. Like this forum, we're still using electricity. If the forum is organized in Taoyuan City, nobody can bring their cell phones and let's turn off the light. It's really ironic. I dare to tell the truth, no matter where I am, because that's beneficial to our Earth here. So I'm really, really disappointed. Taichung City, it's really a heat island, I would say. What about the Taichung tomorrow? I wonder if there's any tomorrow for a Taichung City. There's no tomorrow for a Taichung City, I'd say. I forgot which professor said that. I think it's Professor Chen Yongming. Anyone knew Professor Chen Yongming? It's his projection, not my saying. So currently, Taichung City, we have 36 days. Only 6 days are under. So only 6 days per month is within the range. The rest of the days are too hot for Taichung City. So I think it's doomed for Taichung City, and even for Taipei City, because the temperature in Taipei City is higher, but the people, they do not feel the thing, because I think the general public is forgettable. They cannot remember anything. Every time the politicians come and go, the policy changes constantly. So any measure or policy regarding climate change is different every time, and in charged by different departments and agencies. They a lot of departments, they are reluctant to implement relevant measures, but ironically, they are willing to join ECLA as a member city to ECLA and feel proud of that because they're saying that they're doing that, taking actions, but they just pay the fee and take no action. And did you do anything? Did you supervise us? You collect the fees and you should supervise us about the progress where we are right now and in the future. So I dare to tell the truth, I have to say. So it's an online streamlined forum. So I dare to say, tell the truth. So no matter how difficult it is, as long as the coal power plant is in Taichung burning coals, it's okay. We still have to make efforts to reduce carbon emission. That's our commitment to it. Our mayor came to her office last year. Sorry for the time. Time is up. I have to talk probably more, but like 2 hours. But to make it short, our mayor was elected last year. She had limited knowledge on this regard and about the coal power plant in Taichung, but we want the air quality in Taoyuan City better. So how can we make it better? It's not just like something born out of thin air. So should we do that? Of course we should do that. So we should make efforts to it. So our mayor said that, laid out the 3 goals. Take action immediately. PV installations double. And all the funds are go into the charity organizations. And also we should maintain more water and get close and be more eco-friendly, just like New Taipei City. I think their experience is great. And now we want to create a path for the wind, to introduce wind into the urban areas, to the downtown, and take away the heat. But to create the tunnel or the corridor, it's not just enough. The wind blows through the trees, under the tree. If you do not channel it properly, it will still be a warm wind. It cannot help. So we have to, besides introducing the wind, we also plant more trees. We have to plant more trees. We have 2.83 million population. If each individual plant 1 tree, we will have 2.83 trees planted in Taichung City for our generations to come. So here I encourage all of you to plant more trees. You should prepare, the organizer should prepare the trees, seeds for us to plant. So I think that's all for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much from Director Huang. It's very inspiring, and I believe his speech can bring us a lot of inspiration later. So later on, we're going to have a discussion about this, and maybe he can give us some topic at a time. And next, we're going to have Jiayi, Mr. Xu, Secretary Xu from Jiayi.
Deputy Secretary General, member city representatives, greetings. My responsibilities are mainly the responsibilities of relevant promotions are the tasks of our environmental department of Taoyuan City. It's indeed a great challenge to save energy and reduce our carbon emission. It's a must for us to take on the mission, despite the difficulty we're facing. We have to work hard to achieve the goals. Here, this is my outlines for the presentation. So we will have 2 directions for you to learn from.
不好意思，
Excuse me?
这个会
It seems there's a technical problem with the pointer. So, Jai City is a relatively small city. Many people thought we are Jai County because we occupy only 60 kilometers square, 60 square meters. 60 square kilometers, the smallest city on Taiwan Island. Back in the days, thanks to the Alishan Forestry Farm, we enjoyed the name of a wood city of a century. So our economy back in the days were thriving as a city. So for the GHG emission inventory of Jai City, we found that the emissions from households are the greatest contributor. And the second largest contributor is 34% from transportation sector. So we will work on these two sectors, which accounts for about 80% of our GHG emission. Here in Jai City, we have limited industries in Chiayi, and we encourage we want to work on to produce more energy and save more energy. So how should we do that? First, we want to be more energy self-efficient so that we can reduce our carbon emission and reduce our reliance on coal power plant and have a better air quality as a result. So developing green energy is a key goal to that. Through phase-off of relevant equipment in electricity, so we can improve the energy efficiency in Jai City. And also we will change our behaviors to save more energy in this direction. Also, we have a cross-departmental office to promote green energy. Besides that, we also have Green Energy Service and Management Center, and we have energy management specialists to help our citizens in educating energy saving measures, awareness. These are the tasks of the energy management specialists. And these are photos of the energy management specialists doing their work, like paying visits to households. In addition to Taoyuan City, the electricity consumption of Jai City also ranked number 2 in terms of the reduction of electricity reduction in Taiwan. So we are proactively engaging relevant measures pertaining to renewable energy, like for the government will facilitate the private sectors to invest or subsidize the rooftop PV system on private buildings. Compared to 2016, the installed capacity has doubled by 2020. So that's basically about it. And in light of the epidemic prevention, We also encourage local tourism. Therefore, we combine elements of local features of Jiayi, which is a rich forestry resources like wooden architecture or the wood city of a century. Through efforts and projects of the Department of Cultural Affairs, and we preserve the wooden buildings that is owned by the private sectors, or like we will revitalize old buildings like the old hotels to reshape them into the new features of Jiayi City to draw tourists to come and pay the visit to our Jiayi City. Also, on the public transportation, we employ electric step entrance bus to further reduce GHG emission of Jiayi City. That's all of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next on, we're going to have Lin Canming, Section Chief, to speak for us. Good afternoon, every participant that is here. I'm here. Can I speak Taiwanese? Is that okay? I will try to use Chinese and Taiwanese at the same time. I thought about having good words here, but since we're having this conversation with the Taichung's director, and we actually think there's a lot of things to think about. The ECLI Taiwan members, when I think about this, I come up with the things that happened 8 years ago. 8 years ago, we were fighting for the membership of ECLI with Taipei and Kaohsiung and Taichung and other cities, because ECLI was thinking about having their office in Taiwan. So they were thinking about having the office in New Taipei City or Taipei City, but we actually won the right to have the office here in Kaohsiung. And in this chance, we can have more international ideas in Kaohsiung. Let me talk about the resilient city of Kaohsiung City. I believe every city have their own sustainable plans and actions, and usually held by their mayor. And in 2011, from now, we're having these ideas all the time. But as what we had in the previous speeches, but most of the people think this is the matters for Environmental Protection Bureau, department. However, under the structure, there's a lot of things that can benefit the city. Like what we mentioned about the heat island, I have a very huge impression on this because I was from Taipei, though I'm working Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung is really hot. However, it's not as hot as Taipei. I'm not disrespecting Taipei, but this is the truth. And Kaohsiung is hot, but we have wind. However, in Taipei, it's hot and even the wind is hot. That is because everyone is using air conditioning in Taipei. That is why, even though it's hot in Kaohsiung, I won't really feel the heat. And I won't feel uncomfortable about the heat. However, in Taipei, I always feel weird about the heat there, because even the wind are hot. What I want to mention is that we I break it into 10 sections here. Maybe you want to take a little bit look later. I'll still mention about some good things from of Kaohsiung here. In 2005, we having 6,700 kilotons of carbon dioxide, and we have reduced it 12% right now. And honestly speaking, it was caused by the shutdown of the oil plant. That is the biggest reason why we have this huge emission reduced. Most of our carbon dioxide are from the plants, and 9% is from a private house, and another 9% is from transportations. In order to reduce the carbon emission in plant, that's very difficult. It takes 7 years to reduce 100 kilotons in the past 7 years. However, if they have a huge capacity, if they raise their capacity, the carbon emission will goes up. That is why there is some basic issues that we need to fix. We're having this carbon dioxide emission reduction plans. However, it is not force. They are not. This kind of rules is not forcing them to reduce their carbon emission. Including, let's say, this one here. We're having this volunteering reduction here. We're encouraging plants to reduce their carbon emission. Just take China Steel, for example, they have 2,000 kilotons a year, and the Thai Power emission is taken by the central government, so that it doesn't count. Anyway, we're having this volunteering reduction plans. You can reduce 1% or any kind of percentage that you want in a year. We just want to encourage the plants to reduce their carbon emission. And if any of you have been to Denmark or Kalundborg before, and actually China still sold their steam to the plants over there. That is why they can reduce their carbon emission. Our target of our country said that. Okay, I'm having a little bit problem here. Well, we mentioned that in 2025 that we're going to reduce it by 50%. I don't even know how we're going to make it. It's no matter for the plans, for transportation, it is really difficult for everyone to do it. However, we still need to do it. Okay, this pen is really weird. I don't know how to use it. Anyway, that was about the plant. And here, all the cities are trying to use solar powers. And I think in 2012 and 2013, we're having this requirement from the Environmental Protection Department about to use solar powers and to having 50 megawatt in the plants, and that's why we're having so many solar plates in this area. And in the end, we're asking the Taiwan Sugar to use their field into solar power. And even some ponds for reduction of the floods are even used for solar power as well. I didn't say this is not good. However, we still want to think about if this is okay for the environment. It is a good thing for the environment. Because I think the policy is a bit distributable. I'm kind of wondering about this policy because you're trying to build up the solar power plant, but you're using the place and you're probably destroying the environment because of the plants. Recently, we're trying to promote the solar powers everywhere, but I'm having a little question here. Maybe you can give me some advice here, including in Kaohsiung. There are so many buildings there. Why can't Kaohsiung ask those private house to build solar powers in their systems, on their rooftop anyway? I think the currency was 12 NTD for 1 degree. Maybe it has a little change anyway, but I think that was the price. Why don't we ask those private house to build up solar system? Of course, if you want to build up the solar powers in the private house, you need to pay the rent. And if the recycling power is the price is high enough for people to join the plan, I think I take more time than Taichung City. But anyway, let me try to be faster. I just cannot put it to the next slide. Okay, another point here. Why Kaohsiung is not that hot is because a lot of reasons, including this wetland and the floodplain, as I mentioned. We're having so many green spaces in Kaohsiung, even in the city center. Actually, we can build buildings in the city center. However, we have used it for green land, for plants. That is why we having cool wind in Kaohsiung. And of course, we having green rooftop. That's everyone's work project as well. And for like electronic bus, that's also included in our plans. And maybe I should stop it here. But the things I want to talk about is that flood. I want to deal with the flood. Flood is a problem that every leader, every mayor should think about. And I really want to build up a platform so everyone from every mayor from different city can come up with their ideas and sharing their information. Because through those kind of forum, we can think about how are we going to deal with flood. Maybe people can come up with some experience sharing or maybe good ideas. It is not only holding a forum, but also helping citizens with their problems. I probably should end it right here. I want to stop it right here, but I still got a little question here. Due to the time issue, I want to talk about the environmental sustainable issue here. In southern Taiwan, we're having the problem of waste or field land or power, a lot of problems. I think one of our speakers had mentioned about the problem. I always think that the waste can be recycled, and that is something the government should deal with it. Because if we just dispose the waste, it will cause huge problems. The first speakers I mentioned about the waste problem, the ashes, and we actually having 23 kilotons a year, 230 kilotons a year. But what I want to mention is that green land and blue sky and good economy is our target. Thank you very much.
我们谢谢林科长的简报。那我们现在
Thank you for your wonderful speech and sharing. With all the sharings of the member cities in Taiwan, allow me to briefly introduce you the activities of ICLEI in the past and on the way forward. Okay, let me briefly introduce about ICLEI. I think many of you are familiar with us because you are member cities of ICLEI. We have 22 offices in the world, and the sole office of ICLEI is set up in Kaohsiung City, thanks to the contribution of Kaohsiung City, of course, and also together with the joint efforts of member cities in Taiwan, we can exchange and learn from and contribute to the sustainable development of Taiwan on the platform of ICLEI. At present, we have more than 1,750 cities or organizations participating on the platform of ICLEI, either as advocacy or participants, and accounts for about 25% of the urban population and global 20% of the global population, about 1/4 of the urban population. In 2018, we on the global assembly, we proposed 5 paths, which is in line with the 17 SDGs of the United Nations, of course. So ICLEI KCC is a branch office of ICLEI in Taiwan to facilitate interactions and exchanges of member cities in Taiwan and with the world, like the international forums, organizing relevant conferences on the city level and work together with different cities. Currently, we have 4 staff in our office. You can see to the right, there are 2 colleagues here of KCC. Thank you for supporting KCC for the smooth operation thereof. So thank you. In addition to that, we also organize empowerment workshops and also share some sharings of different experiences across cities, or even to talk about how we deal with relevant issues and advocacies, common issues and initiatives, for example. And later I'll share some ICLEI activity over the past decade. On the global scale, for ICLEI, KCC is a great platform to interact with the ICLEI network. So, and these are the activities we have at home and abroad. Since the establishment of KCC of ICLEI in 2016, after a city of Taiwan acquiring the membership of ICLEI, we have cities from Taiwan participating in events of ICLEI. there might be some mistakes on this slide. Later on, I'll verbally point it out to you. We have New Taipei City and Taichung City participating in that, and the results will be released in August. For the East Asia part, Kaohsiung City and New for the global governance, I will elaborate on that on the next slide. Please, we also have different cities participating in relevant events of ICLEI. And we also have carbon, or actually carbon emission disclosure report released by the cities of Taiwan. We also have CDP program to work on the carbon emission disclosure on the climate registry, for example. At present, all the cities on the project of carbon, they all chip in and work close with us. And last year, all of them participated in that, and all the 6 municipalities in Taiwan also passed the CDP certification. And many of the cities in Taiwan also partake in relevant events as well. And for the 100% renewable energy network, there's Pingtung City, chip in. Previously, Kaohsiung City also participate in Eco Mobility Alliance as well. For ICLEI here, we have 2 initiatives. One is City Food Network, which is new. Another is more close to the topic today, Green Circular Cities Coalition, that is mainly coordinated by the office in Europe, which you can click on the relevant links of the materials released by the office online, of course. For the resilient development, we have resilient city events. To 2020 today, it has been over a decade. Due to the epidemic, originally we had organized a delegation from Taiwan to a huge delegation to join the relevant events on resilient cities. But unfortunately, due to the epidemic, we cannot make it. Another aspect is natural-based development. Kaohsiung City participated in LAB, Local Action for Biodiversity, and all the member cities are more than welcome to join the new project, Cities with Nature, as well. For the global participation, that is what we have to date. Currently, we do not have any new program, but we will continue to exchange with member cities worldwide, and you can click on the links on official websites to for us to send you relevant information. We have the World Congress organized every 3 years. For the coming ICLEI World Congress, it's going to be in Sweden. But of course, it is subject to the development of the pandemic and the border control worldwide. Another thing is the COP26. It's going to be postponed about 1 year later in November next year in Glasgow of UK. And also, thanks to the efforts of all member cities, we can thrive together and to promote sustainable development and learn from each other. So it's basically the same as the last time, but by 2021, we definitely warned you and invite you to join us. If there's any other member city wants to organize the annual assembly next year, please feel free to contact me. The last slide, I'd like to share the participation willingness of member city activities. Please just scan the QR code here, and we have some survey online about the progress you have made, efforts you have put, because we have lots of issues at hand. We want to learn a bit more about the needs of our member cities and how we can build your capacity as the KCC center. So feel free to fill in the survey online with this QR code. So don't do it now, that's okay. You can do it later. The old website is obsolete. We now have a new website available. You can see the new website here. The link is on the bottom left. You can click on it and check it out. And you're more than welcome to provide more information, updates of your member cities. You're also welcome to contact us via emails or phones or even on Facebook. Currently, we have 2 posts on Facebook on a daily basis to share relevant information and activities on Facebook. So if you are a member on the Facebook, you're free to follow us on Facebook as well. So I think that's all. Thank you. And that's all for my presentation. After my presentation, we also have some time for a panel discussion together with all member cities in Taiwan, because I think I should give the floor to all more member cities. After hearing so much inspiring experiences from member cities, if you're free to share your thoughts or feedbacks or questions, you're more than welcome to share with us. So now the floor is open to probably 3 questions.
Is there any question here? Okay, here's one. Mr. Zhao, please. First of all, thank you very much, Ms. Tsai, and thank you for the member cities of ICLEI today. And I want to respond that some city mentioned about the reduction and adoption. There's a lot of challenges toward the actions. And during the past few years at ICLEI, and we have paying a lot of attentions on the United Nations actions, and we have tried to promoted that in Taiwan, and we actually have a training courses in Kaohsiung in order to support the local government for their future plans, including the flood situation that, as the Kaohsiung representative mentioned about. I think we will have more discussion with ICLEI, so we can have more action promotion in the future. Is there Any other things that you want to share with us, the representatives?
All right. Finally, let us have our Deputy Secretary General Chu to give us the concluding remark. I dare not to have any conclusion.
After so many sharings and their experiences, I'll take Taoyuan apart. But I think there's a lot of us can learn from the speeches today, and of course we can learn more. How are we going to push toward SDGs targets? Only through this forum we can share how our vision towards sustainable cities, and that is also a chance for us to learn. We have a lot of statistics numbers about electricity and about green energies as well. I think in Taoyuan we're a little bit lack of statistic right here, and this is what we're going to learn. And for the representatives I mentioned in Taichung, I believe everyone have their own difficulties. However, this is still something we need to work more in the future. And of course, our environmental problem is so difficult that it's not really easy to be promoted. And as for Jai, I know they also have their own difficulties, and they have a lot of efforts to deal with the questions. And believe today's forum has only one problem, which is we don't have much time. And I think we should leave more time on the speeches next time, because I think people just want to cut their ideas because they're running out of time. Therefore, I'm hoping that we can have more time in our next forum for discussion. As a representative of Taoyuan, we have a lot of members here that joined today's meeting from different departments. They are still in this room, and I think this is the reason why we have so many attention on this topic. And thank you for your coming. I believe we have so many ideas and inspiration today, and I welcome you to stay for dinner. Thank you very much in the end.
Now, we'd like to have Deputy Secretary General Chu to come up stage to present the award to receive the award from KCC of Expo. Thank you, Deputy Secretary General Chu and Director Tsai from KCC of Expo.
Today's forum, thank you for your participation. 2020台湾 ECLI 会员城市大会暨永续城市论坛已圆满结束，请有租借口译机的贵宾于离场时至报到处归还。开车的贵宾也提醒您于离场时至报到处找工作人员进行停车票卡消磁。